pleasant good day to each and every one of you. Thank you once again for joining us here at the Information Command Center, the studios of GIS. We're live on NTN, as well as you could join us each and every day on WVNT 93.5. Today, our spotlight falls on youth in business, and in a moment, we will introduce you to our young entrepreneurs in studio with us, and we'll be talking about seizing the opportunities even in the midst of the global pandemic COVID-19. But for now, the daily updates. During our lunchtime update, we heard from Sunita Daniel, the CEO of Export Saint Lucia, who spoke with Lisa Joseph about some of the organization's interventions earlier this year, including the growth support from the government of Saint Lucia through the agency of Export Saint Lucia, where we saw toiling manufacturers exporting a 40-foot container of product to St. Vincent this week. This is as a result of a trade mission facilitated by Export Saint Lucia from March 9th to the 13th to Grenada and St. Vincent, which included St. Lucian manufacturers and service providers. And next week, Export Saint Lucia will be facilitating a webinar titled Service Exports Through a Window of Opportunity. This will take place on May 21st from 10 a.m. And for more information and to register, you could visit www.exportstlucia.org. We now have a notice from the Electoral Department, and it reads, as we continue to observe the health and safety protocols in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Electoral Department wishes to inform the general public that we are providing all our services at both locations, castries and electoral sub-offices in Vieux-Fort, from 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. daily. We urge the general public to adhere to the established protocols of wearing masks, sanitize hands, and practice social distancing when visiting our offices. We thank you for your understanding and cooperation during this challenging time. That was a notice here from the Electoral Department. We're now taking this update from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belma George, since the full recovery of all 18 cases of COVID-19 patients here in St. Lucia.
As of May 12, 2020, the World Health Organization reported a total of 4,088,848 confirmed cases of COVID-19 globally, with 285,153 deaths. There are now 1,743,717 confirmed cases in the region of the Americas. As of May 13, 2020, St. Lucia has recorded a total of 18 confirmed cases of COVID-19. The last case has now recovered and been discharged from the hospital. All 18 cases are therefore fully recovered. The Ministry of Health have received results for 52 samples, and they were all negative. These samples were mainly captured through the community respiratory clinics. This brings the total number of tests conducted to date to 727. Although we are pleased to maintain a low transmission level of COVID-19 in country, we remind the public that we are still at risk and must remain vigilant as the threat continues. As we progress with the phase reopening, we must ensure that all protocols are adhered to. We recognize the efforts of a wide cross-section of the population in adopting the recommended infection prevention and control measures and taking the necessary precautions when having to venture out in public. We would like to see these measures adopted at the community level as well. We call on all community leaders, gatekeepers, and heads of organizations to support the Ministry of Health in the implementation of these measures. We continue to request that every individual practices standard recommendations to prevent the spread of infection. These include regular hand washing with soap and water or alcohol-based hand sanitizer where soap and water is not available. Cover your mouth and nose with disposable tissues when coughing and sneezing. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness such as coughing and sneezing. Wear your homemade or cloth mask whenever venturing out from home. Maintain a 6-foot distance when in public, even while wearing a mask. Seek medical attention if you have symptoms suggestive of respiratory illness either during or after travel. Refrain from touching items unless you intend to buy them when grocery shopping and otherwise. The Department of Health and Wellness will continue providing regular updates on COVID-19.
And we say a very special thank you to Dr. Sharon Belmar-George and her team, as well as the Bureau of Health Education and the Department of Health and Wellness. And at this point, I need to say that notwithstanding the good news, our health and medical experts continue to caution that we should not have this false sense of all of a sudden that everything is okay and that we are back to normal. All of the protocols remain in place, particularly when out in public: the 6 feet physical distancing, wearing of masks, the limit of persons in both private and public vehicles, and the practice of washing your hands frequently and coughing into your sleeves if you must. We take a break now, and when we come back, we'll be joining our guests right here in studios.
Sanitizer, better yet use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for Saint Lucia. Together let us win this war. Be a soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging around, no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for Saint Lucia. Together let us win this war. Saint Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
And welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned with us here at the Information Command Center. Today we look at youth entrepreneurship, and I have in studio with me Jacques-Claude Lagon and Charlene Lagon of Halo Atelier. I have to make sure I pronounce that correctly. Did I do a good job with that?
Good job, yeah, man.
Okay, thank you and welcome to both of you for joining us here.
Thank you for having us.
Before we talk about your enterprise, just tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourselves.
Sure, okay, so as Tony said, my name is Jacques-Claude Lagon. I am a 25-year-old Saint Lucian entrepreneur. I dabble in the fields of entertainment, fashion design, event management, to name a few. Along with my siblings, we have some different business ventures that we've endeavored upon, and it's been a good journey thus far, I should say.
Charlene?
Okay, so my name is Charlene Lago. I'm 36 years old, and I am a fashion designer by profession. I've dabbled in teaching. I taught at a secondary school for just over 3 years. Very interesting. I've dabbled in different projects, anything really that concerns creativity, the arts, culture. These are the things that I love working on. Yeah.
Before we go into the heart of what we're here to discuss, just tell us how have each of you been coping with the new protocols in response to COVID-19? What has your personal experiences been like thus far?
It has been a very interesting journey, I must say. But we've learned to adapt, or I should say we've also been exposed to different circumstances in life that kind of conditioned us to have no issue with COVID and the new challenges that it may be bringing. Although some we have had to really be very meticulous in our approach to ensure that we don't make any wrong moves. But it has been interesting thus far.
Okay.
And I think I can safely say that for us, the timing was just a bit, would I say, not perfect. It was strange because I just gave birth.
Okay.
So when
Congratulations.
Thank you. When the lockdown happened, I was supposed to move into my family house anyway, you know, because it was the final stages, and then I was supposed to be on lockdown anyway. So I'd already conditioned myself mentally for that. So for me, it wasn't too much of a strain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about the business side of things. Halo, tell us more about that. First of all, the name.
Yes, the name.
The name, okay. So the name Halo is actually a combination of our parents' first names. We had a lot of back and forth in terms of coming up with the final concept for the name. But Halo is also self-explanatory that the brand is to exude the crown of an angel. So in anything that we produce or make for our clientele, they feel godly or angelic wearing it.
But we should also point out the Halo.
Yes, the constant battle with our
clients.
That
battle. That battle started from day one because we all agreed on the name, we all loved the name, and then we launched, and then people saw the logo, saw the name, and they just kept saying Gelu. So over the years, a lot of people have associated the brand with the name Gelu, when in fact it is supposed to be pronounced Halo.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So some people might be listening right now and they're like, Halo, what is that?
And this has been a 10-year struggle,
Yes, it has been.
So from here on out, hopefully we will get it correct moving forward.
Yeah.
Okay, in light of COVID, we are seeing several businesses using social media platforms, online stores, more and more. How are you positioning this company to take advantage of the whole, what may appear to be a new trend when it comes to e-commerce?
Okay, well, that is an awesome question. I can say that prior to COVID, we actually were in the process of streamlining everything for the business to penetrate the digital market and reach a wider international audience. Of course, COVID-19 has, I guess, forced our hand or expedited the process a bit more. For us, the important thing is staying true to the brand and ensuring that we don't lose ourselves trying to play catch up with everybody else. It is a process. So we are currently working on our website and streamlining our other social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where persons can follow us and get updates on our apparel, what we have to offer to customers, whether it be regionally or internationally. Shai, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I think you're...
Well, you mentioned about the apparel. Okay, just list some of your merchandise that you now involved in.
Well, Gelu is a brand that provides mixed apparel. So I would say that the sky is the limit. Creatively, Charlene has dabbled in many areas, from costume design to wedding gowns, bikinis, costumes for theater productions. You name it, we've probably been a part of it. We have been blessed to collaborate with a lot of national and private agencies in terms of putting together some incredible work. Our last significant project was actually working with the Cultural Development Foundation to produce some of the costumes that were sent off to Trinidad for Carifesta.
Okay.
So that was highlighted in the main theatrical piece that represented Saint Lucia in Trinidad. Outside of that, we've dabbled in fashion shows internationally and regionally. And our networking has since propelled the brand to really network and meet a lot of significant players in the different industries that we're dabbling in.
And of course, with the advent of COVID, you now dabble in producing face masks.
Yes.
So tell me a little more about this venture.
Okay, well basically, in light of the COVID situation touching down in Saint Lucia, it was a request that was put forth. Some of my clients had requested it, family members, and then I just decided to go ahead and just do my thing, and of course do it with a twist. So for example, these masks, they're double-sided or two-sided, so you could wear them either way. The fabrics are not the same on either side. So if you're feeling greens on one day, you can wear your greens. You're feeling, this nice little color palette the next day, you can just flip it around and wear it. They're washable, reusable, and we also take requests for people who want a special opening for filters, because some frontline workers have requested it, and we can make them to suit them.
And what has been the response so far?
Oh boy, it's been
crazy.
Crazy. I would say crazy.
But I think to add to that, outside of the request from our regular clientele, we felt the need to give back or to play our part in terms of our social responsibility and ensure that our healthcare workers had priority access to the traditional PPEs and the N95 mask. We know that globally it is a struggle to get these to the people who really need it. And we realized the demand for it, and persons had started reaching out to us. So we said, okay, you know what? It was a new project for us to undertake. We had to figure out a design that was comfortable, breathable. You have persons who are claustrophobic in these things, and they feel like they're suffocating. So we took some time dabbling on different concepts, different designs, something that was practical and yet still affordable for persons. And like Charlene alluded to, we have persons in the healthcare sector who also engaged us to have filters incorporated into the mask. So it was a lot of research, a lot of back and forth, and then we settled on the concept, and it has been generally received pretty well. We did have a struggle at first in terms of keeping up with the demand, because persons were coming to us in droves, and we are a small unit trying to satisfy everyone.
I think for us, not to cut him off, is that we were not expecting that kind of
demand
right off. Yeah.
Now we also have some images. Let's just take a look at some of the images of some of your masks, as well as some interesting images involving some costumes, and we'll talk a little about that as well. Do we have those images, Roger? Okay, so there we're seeing various persons wearing some of your masks. When did you begin your production?
We began around, it might have been around the 4th or the 5th of April,
I think it was the 4th. Yeah.
It was around that time, and I would know because I went into labor on the 9th.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right.
So in the midst of all the craziness, we had a blessing on our hands. Yeah. So it has been COVID has been a very interesting journey for us.
Okay. Far. Now you've also posted to social media some costumes, a combination of costumes and masks. Do I take it that you're also gearing up, before the whole postponement of cancellation of Carnival? This year, you guys would have been involved in Carnival?
I know what he's okay, so what you're alluding to is actually a project that we were working on with a client of ours who's based in St. Martin.
Okay.
Through some assistance with Export Saint Lucia, we were able to confirm a contract where we were actually producing costumes for St. Martin Carnival. Unfortunately, it was cancelled, and that has sort of put a little spoke in our wheel, but God willing, this COVID thing is put under control, and once the mass crowd activities are permitted, then we should get the ball rolling again. But outside of that engagement, we have had persons who've reached out to us with some very elaborate requests in terms of the mask and actually incorporating them into a whole host of different things. I won't mention now, but we see it becoming a fashion trend. Outside of saving or averting the risk of contracting COVID-19, persons are trying to make fashion statements with their mask now, and they're coming to us with those requests, and we're trying our best to satisfy the demand. I
guess that's where I'm having the reversible mask comes in, that you have two different sizes, one mask but you could wear it with two different outfits to match your outfits.
And the concept for us for that was that you could have the professional side with a neutral solid color, and you could have the playful patterns on the other side. So depending on your outfit for the day, or maybe your mood when you wake up, your mask can serve two purposes.
Do you also have for children as well?
Yes, we do.
We do, yeah. I think we for as young as 3 years old, we've been sending out masks to kids as well.
We take another break right now. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation here with Halo,
Yes.
two of our young entrepreneurs. We'll talk a little more about entrepreneurship and a little more about your brand.
Of course.
All right, no problem.
Saint Lucia ka registre vers min corona ek I ka fait mouvement ek en chay vitesse tan chaque canef ka kouye pour vigilance publique la fait wolo parler en place publique qu'on bol en main base ti boutique changer distance sociale 6 pieds hod yon a lot I ka travay tan si ou senti ko pa cordial quarantine ko patwe contact et puis l'autre en cas où te toi pe exposé c'est un écouye free 11 ou ben n'importe clinique yo pou les pays a dimi à clé ça veut dire les supermarkets pharmacie et puis ATM yo accessible avant c'était souhait pays à clé en plein ça veut dire tout bagay fermé à 24 heures. Servi protocole comme sorti par bureau indication santé. Nous tout ensemble, ça sauver vers min corona. Si nous tous servi Jidla à toutes les.
Together let us win this war. Saint Lucia be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
And in the latest news, the coronavirus or COVID-19 continues to be a health emergency across the world. Caribbean people are concerned.
Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be. It very well could be. Somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening, listening. We're in this together. Yeah. We all got to work with each other. Yeah. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be afraid to call the doctor.
Red Cross volunteers from across the Caribbean, working hard to fight discrimination. So if a person should feel ill, then they will contact the authorities without hesitation.
The most vulnerable are the elderly, but the truth is it can infect anybody. So what we need is solidarity. Everyone helping everyone like a family. So
this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization.
Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be. It very well could be. Somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening, listening.
People around the world facing this pandemic coronavirus have the whole world a panic. Now is not the time to be fearful, but to be careful, supportive and empathetic.
This is the state of the society. Some people full of fear and anxiety. Yo, a lot of fake news in the community. But what we need now is more love and unity. So
this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization.
Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be. It very well could be. Somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening, listening. We're in this together. We all got to work with each other. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be afraid to call the doctor.
And welcome back. We have in studio with us today Jacques-Claude Lagor and Charlene Lagor of Halo. And before the break, we were talking about some of your involvement with mask making and whatnot. But let us go back. Just take me through the whole process of establishing your business.
Sure. Okay. So Halo has been a registered business in Saint Lucia for 10 years strong now. Mm-hmm. When we first came into the field of business, we were a bit confused as to, the do's and don'ts. Who do we engage? What is to be done to make it a reality? To anybody who's listening and interested in going into business, I should say that you should definitely make some strong, significant relationships with the Ministry of Commerce through the Small Enterprise Development Unit. They are your go-to guys in terms of putting everything together and getting registered. Of course, that is worked out harmoniously with the Registry of Companies and Intellectual Property. They assist in the name search and formalizing all of your paperwork to have your business name registered and solely your property. In no particular order, I also listed some agencies that are worthwhile in terms of engagement to see how you can best maximize your opportunities in Saint Lucia. Miss Danielle was here earlier of Export Saint Lucia. These folks are incredible. They make magic sometimes out of nothing. And in terms of exposing you to new industries or new potential markets, I should say, they are the go-to guys for that. The Saint Lucia Youth Business Trust as well. They do incredible training programs. We have done courses in marketing, cost management, risk assessment, and management, to name a few. And I'm not sure what the plans are now in light of COVID-19, but I imagine that they may possibly bring these things to a virtual arena for persons to seize the opportunity. And I also wanted to allude to persons, now more than ever, the internet is your second most powerful asset after because you are your brand. But people don't realize how powerful these little devices are. Even prior to COVID, the internet has made the world so much more accessible. We have been blessed to I guess, realize its full potential and have opportunities where we can collaborate and network with other industry players and see how we can improve on our craft and basically our business and bring it to another level. For any young entrepreneur, I would say don't give up. I understand that COVID-19 for everyone is the experience is subjective and persons have different issues or realities to face, but you can get through this. It is not the end of the road. COVID-19 really has, I would say, it's now forcing persons to innovate and be creative, or even more creative than they usually would be, because it is a matter of surviving and making sure your brand stays relevant and competitive within its respective industry. And to do so, now more than ever, you need to have that digital footprint that works, that allows clients to get access to you without physically being in a space with you. So again, your social media platforms, you need to leverage that. The sky is the limit in terms of reaching people and networking and having interactions with potential and existing customers.
Because that having been said, undoubtedly COVID-19 have had a negative impact on unemployment, youth unemployment in particular.
Unfortunately, yes.
So speak to what would you say to young persons in terms of the challenges they may face and how they may overcome those challenges by seeking opportunities even within this whole COVID-19 crisis?
I would say at a domestic level, you have to keep at it. I think even prior to COVID, let's face it, we live in a competitive environment. People are always trying to survive and make the most for themselves and their family. Again, everybody has personal or different scenarios to cope with, but you have to be a go-getter. You cannot stop. You cannot allow yourself to be deterred or feel like, this is it for me. I can't do it. I can't cope with the stress. I mean, everybody has their different coping mechanisms. Lord knows that I've been through it. Charlene has been through her fair share, and we've done what we had to try to overcome it. And it's important to surround yourself or immerse yourself in a positive environment around positive people and persons who will support your dreams and ambitions. Don't let the naysayers cloud your judgment or your ambition to do something and create something for yourself.
Charlene?
Yes. He's definitely right. I agree with him 100%. The only thing I would add to that again is for young people, think outside the box. I think a lot of people are so focused on the negativity surrounding COVID that they just let it bring them down. If you're a young person and you have the smarts, you have that drive, I'm pretty sure whatever field you're in, you can think of an innovative way for making it work during this time. And I've always had this mindset of when you face with difficulties, you forge ahead. You find ways to forge ahead, and you use that negativity to make you stronger and make you better. I believe that same thing should apply now. With all the negativity that's happening, everything shut down, people say things are running. Make things run for you. Find a unique ways, especially using social media, using the internet as your platform to get out there. The sky's the limit.
Overall, what would you say is your driving force?
My driving force?
Well, there's a new one in the picture.
Well, there's
now.
a new one, a very important new one in the picture right now. He's kind of the center of everything for me right now. But before, my driving force really was just to push ahead. It's just, there's not a word for it. It's just that, how do you say it? That thing that you just push ahead, that's the goal, and you go. You find ways to make it happen. You just push. You may fall at the wayside, things may happen, but you just pick up, you fix it, and you keep going. And you don't let negativity or bad situations or unfortunate incidents keep you from that goal. Yeah, that's the best way I could put it.
At the heart of everything you guys do, there seems to be this Saint Lucianness, this Caribbeanness, while always striving for that international excellence. Why is that so important to have this, to be grounded in what is us and everything that you do, your fashion, your style, your design? That seems to be at the heart of all that you do.
Well, for sure, for us, yeah. I mean, I know for me, when I did the first collection for Halo, I studied at Barbados Community College, and I remember having that conversation with one of my teachers when I asked her, what now? Now that the collection is built, it's done, I'm going to launch it, what happens after? And then she was saying to me that, she was asking, what are you passionate about? What inspires you? And I was telling her that I come from an island where it has a rich culture, a rich heritage. I've always liked the idea of our people embracing that heritage and using it in fashion somehow. And she told me to just use that to be unique, because to make it in the fashion industry and in the arts industry, really, you have to stand out. You have to have a unique look. And I've always kept that with me, which is why a lot of the past collections you see from Halo, you will see a strong Madras cultural, je ne Creole mixed with modern themes. We did a collection where we merged the Creole with Asia. So then we had kimonos, and we had these girls looking like geishas coming out, but then they had the Madras twist in there, and we used bamboo, we used the burlap sack. We used the burlap sack to make these corseted belts and stuff. I just think that Saint Lucia has such a unique heritage that it can take us and propel us to a level where we're so unique that we stand out internationally. Yeah.
Jacques?
I just wanted to add to that even outside of the fashion industry or fashion fraternity or the creative fraternity on a whole, it's subjective to the industry, but young entrepreneurs should look past Saint Lucia's 238 square miles. All of my colleagues, friends, family, I always tell them, think globally. Don't try to. Yes, you want to appease your local market and regional market, but think of your product being competitive against other international established brands. What do you bring to the table that will make someone say, yes, that is it. I want that. I want to support that business. But as I'm saying that now, I should also emphasize that it is important that we support local business. Now more than ever, it is very, 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 very important that we support local business. We uplift local businesses, regardless of the sector that someone may be involved in. We have to realize now it's not an opportune time for us to, sort of remain stagnant in that sort of crabs in a barrel mentality. We need to uplift one another instead of pulling persons down. And persons would be surprised the kind of opportunities when that present themselves when businesses from various fields actually come to collaborate together and produce unique products or concepts and present it to the market, how well received it may be. It's just a matter of being open-minded and taking risk. Of course, that is what business is. You take calculated risk and you go 100% into it.
You speak of the support. How can persons get in touch with you, connect with you in terms of not only purchasing, but if they want to network with you guys, how could they reach out to you?
Sure, of course. So persons can reach out to us on our WhatsApp platform. The contact number is 518-5659. We are also available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle name is @Jaylu Atelier. That's JAEYLU ATELIER. Our website will be up pretty soon, I would say within about a month's time.
Probably.
Because it's taking a while because it's a lot to process, but we should be up and running within a month's time.
And hopefully, as you mentioned earlier on, you would be going the e-commerce route.
Yes, most definitely. And of course, not just from the perspective of us doing business, but if there are persons who may need some advice or may be interested in collaborating, we are always open to that. We have never shied away from any possible collaboration with young entrepreneurs, whether it be within Saint Lucia or within the region.
What does the future hold for the company? What are some of the areas, avenues you're looking to get into?
Well, right now we're into accessories. We're looking at launching a new collection very soon.
There is a new collection, which will launch with the website.
You seem to be very secretive about that, so I won't push
it's
any
big,
further. I
big.
guess I'll wait until the
happening.
website is launched to see what that's about.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in the pipelines. We don't really, the way we operate, we don't really stay stagnant. Every time a project drops, we look for the next thing and we build. So we have a series of different things happening.
And we always set, and I guess something that I can share with young entrepreneurs who are interested in going into their respective fields. You set milestones for yourself, you set realistic deadlines, and you hustle to achieve it as best as you can, and then you move on. You don't remain stagnant, you keep setting incredible milestones for yourself.
And I recognize that you guys have also been able to take advantage of some of the government agencies that have been put in place. You mentioned Export Saint Lucia, I think the Small Business Enterprise. You've also worked with
the Youth Trust.
CDF as well. How important is that to collaborate with these different agencies?
It is very important. I would say it's kind of twofold. You want to collaborate with these agencies, yes, but you also don't want to be too heavily dependent on them because you have to ask yourself, okay, there's so many other persons who are trying to get at them, and of course government would have limited resources. You have to think creatively on how you can make your business self-sufficient and not too reliant on public agencies. But it is a good opportunity in terms of networking again and getting your brand out there. Collaborating with these agencies, you just need to, I don't want to say be aggressive, but sell yourself, sell your product, sell your idea, sell your brand, and you need to show how it can work. And how you can create synergies with other persons and bring a positive change to society in whatever it is that you're doing.
The creative industry obviously have been hard hit by COVID-19. We have a number of events, carnival, fashion events, all of these things now completely shut down. How do you see these things taking shape in the future and your involvement in events in the future? Post-COVID.
Boy.
I know none of us could tell what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, but in terms of positioning.
We actually discuss it. Every couple of days we bring it up, we discuss the possibilities. I think right now we're just monitoring what's happening globally. And with what's happening, we just try to make strides and so that we can stay relevant and stay ahead of what's happening.
But it has been a very interesting series of events because although we got to see from the global channels that COVID-19 was unfolding, I think it hit home so quickly that a lot of persons didn't have time to adapt or to process what was really happening, especially in the creative industries and areas like Carnival, you know, the Queen shows, all of these national cultural activities. Persons were left in limbo as to, you know, what is really going on or what's going to happen. So it has been a very like Charlene said, we spent hours, sometimes sleepless nights, figuring, okay, what is the next move? What are we going to do? How are we going to remain relevant? And we've been brainstorming and seeing, okay, how do we make things work? Because, of course, we are involved in these things. So when Carnival comes around, we know that we are busy. We engage in costume design, costume production locally. And that, not just the stream of revenue, but the fact that that opportunity, that seasonal activity that we always look forward to is pretty much gone. So now we have to figure, okay, what is the next thing? How do we not just survive as a business? We have bills to pay, we have things to take care of, but how do we keep that creative drive going?
What would you say to other creatives like yourself in terms of utilizing this downtime? You just said for you it's just keeping the conversation going. What would you say to other creatives at this time?
Keep at it. I mean, that's what we do. A large part of what we do is that we monitor what's happening globally. We watch a lot of news. We listen to what's happening on Facebook, on Instagram, with regards to what's happening in China, what's happening in the States, because these things eventually trickle down and they affect us here. So we pay attention a lot, especially to China, because with the Carnival thing in particular, we are invested in Carnival as well. China, feathers, stones, fabrics, everything. So, you know, from early on we were watching and I'm saying, you know what, the way this is going, this and that might happen. We always have these discussions where we think of possible scenarios, best case and worst case scenarios to help us plan. I think that anybody who's a creative in this day, right now in COVID, should be going along the same route. Monitor what's happening globally and try to get ahead of the curve. They say that's a new word that everybody's using, the curve. Try to get ahead of the curve and just think outside the box and try to make a way for your thing to work, whatever it is that you work on.
And I think also for creatives in general, the downtime that COVID has exposed pretty much everyone to, it's a pretty profound opportunity where you can now I guess improve on your craft and
even if it's
and take the time to reflect on how you can improve what has been perhaps your downfalls over the years, what you could have done differently, things that you may not be so strong in, how you can improve upon them. I have some friends in the arts fraternity, whether it be sculptors, painters. I know that they're actually working on projects as we speak, and they can also engage agencies like the CDF in terms of how they can put that out there, how they can network with other artists who are experiencing this downtime and who are actively working and creating stuff.
You mentioned sourcing raw material, like the feathers and stuff for Carnival. For your face mask, how easy has it been to source material?
We have our links.
Oh, okay. You're not going to reveal your sources.
We have our links. We have, again, networking, very important. We have our people that we deal with around the island for various supplies, various things, and you know, when situations happen, you call, you know, you negotiate, and things can happen.
And I guess in business, that is always key, networking and building relationships.
Very important.
Even more than having all the capital and what have you,
it's
networking is
very important.
Yes. Well, lady, young man, we're winding down right now. Just your final words, final thoughts to young Saint Lucians, especially to aspiring entrepreneurs like yourself.
Should I kick off?
You should kick off.
Sure. Again, in closing, I would say do not give up. You need to surround yourself or have a support system that is a literal support system, whether it be emotionally, financially, if that is possible for you. But more so emotionally, and people who trust your vision, who trust what you are intending to do, and will support you.
I think for me, I would say don't look at this period as being too negative. Look at this as an opportunity for creating a product, a service that is so unique that you will just skyrocket and just dominate the market. Just think positive, think outside of the box. Yeah.
What are you guys looking forward to the most when we get over this curve?
Boy.
I am looking forward to, as a result of our conversation now, I am looking forward to a lot more young entrepreneurs taking flight, budding business individuals. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of young persons collaborating and making magic in terms of their respective industries. That's what I'm looking forward to most definitely. I know none of us are fortune tellers, so we don't know how soon we're going to get over this thing, but take the opportunity while it's here, while it presents itself, to network with one another and make something for the future.
I agree 100% with what he said, and I think for me too, personally, I would just like to see all our projects that we're working on just take off and grow, because like I said, we're planning and we're planning for the eventual opening up of things and for COVID too. But then we still have our what ifs and we have our other scenarios. But for me, again, I'm just looking forward to everything just being successful and fruitful so that we can get more to give back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let me say thank you to both of you for joining us here at the Information Command Center. And I do wish you, Jean-Claude Lago and Charlene Lago, all the best in all your endeavors. I know you're very hardworking and you come from a family of creatives. I'm pretty sure that your mom is tuned in right now. Wherever she is right now, I could almost bet my bottom dollar that she's tuned in and following, very proud of all her children. So let me just say a pleasant good day to her as well. Thank you again for joining us here today.
Thank you for having us.
And I just want to wish all of Saint Lucia continue to be safe. Wishing each and every one a pleasant day. Thanks to all our listeners and viewers. Keep tuning into this network for reliable, timely, and factual information on Saint Lucia's response to COVID-19. Be safe, take good care, and remember that this too shall pass, and together we will win this. I leave you with this one, Bad Virus Live, from our Denry segment artist in an Acid Creations production. Okay, well, we seem to be having some technical difficulties getting this. Okay, here you go. Thank you, Roger.
Pas toucher bouchou, pas toucher zio, oueste caillou, ma webio, protecte famille, quand ça caille ou pas catan, police caille bao.
Couvert bouchou avant pousser, avant rester et moucher.